A man with no visible company, no public product, no clear clients. Yet somehow, he flew private jets, owned islands, moved among billionaires, bankers, and politicians. Here's the paradox. Jeffrey Epstein was officially a money manager, but almost no one can explain how he made his money, not where it started, not how it scaled, not why it never seemed to run out. So tonight, we do the one thing that exposes every empire. We follow the money, and what we find isn't just about one man. It's about how modern wealth can exist without transparency, without scrutiny, and without accountability. Epstein entered finance in the 1970s. No elite pedigree, no famous track record. Yet by the 1980s, he was managing money for the ultra-rich. Officially, he ran a private investment firm. Unofficially, almost no public records explain its strategy. No hedge fund letters, no major filings, no audited performance. Just money. Lots of it. Court documents later estimated his net worth anywhere between 500 million and several billion dollars. That's not unusual for finance. What is unusual is how invisible the business remained. Imagine a restaurant that never advertises, never lists a menu, never files reviews, but somehow owns skyscrapers. That's the mystery. Finance has a hidden layer: private wealth, family offices, offshore entities. Think of it like plumbing behind the walls. You don't see the pipes, but everything flows through them. Epstein's money structure relied on three tools. First, exclusivity. He reportedly limited clients to a tiny circle of ultra-wealthy individuals. Fewer clients, bigger checks, less disclosure. Second, jurisdictions. Epstein used offshore trusts and shell companies. These aren't illegal, they're common, but they do one thing very well. They create distance between money and accountability. Third, influence. Epstein wasn't just managing money, he was embedded in networks of power: finance, politics, academia, philanthropy. In this world, access is currency, and currency compounds. Then the walls cracked. Legal scrutiny didn't start with finance, it started elsewhere. But once investigators looked closer, the financial questions multiplied. Where did the seed capital come from? Who were the real clients? Why were transactions so opaque? Banks began filing suspicious activity reports. Foundations and donors quietly distanced themselves. Properties, planes, and accounts came under review. And then the biggest disruption: public attention. Because wealth survives quietly. But scrutiny is loud. What stood out wasn't just Epstein's money, it was how many systems failed to question it for decades. No alarms, no transparency demands, no meaningful oversight. The system worked exactly as designed. After Epstein's death, the money didn't disappear. Estates were fought over, assets were frozen, victims pursued compensation. But many financial questions remain unresolved. And that's the real consequence. Not just one story, but a pattern. Modern finance allows enormous power to exist behind closed doors. If wealth is private enough, it becomes untouchable. Until it doesn't. This story isn't about fascination, it's about structure. Epstein didn't invent secrecy, he used it. The same tools exist today: private funds, opaque trusts, jurisdictional complexity, tools that can build innovation or hide abuse. The difference isn't money, it's oversight. So here's the uncomfortable question. If this much money could move this quietly for this long, how many other fortunes still are?